All right, I think we should be good to go.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. What's going on? Olivia Reiner here for Packers News, joined by Jim Owczarski today. We don't have Pete, unfortunately. We gotta roll with Jim today, so hopefully none of you are too disappointed.
Yeah, I think they saw my really luscious hair and knew it wasn't Pete right away.
Yeah. Oh, clearly, it's all this going on right here.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, welcome to Jim. We're happy to have him, and we're happy to have you as well. Thank you for joining us. If you're new around here, this is our second camp chat that we're doing after every single practice of training camp. You can give us some questions over on our Facebook. We should be live over on Periscope today, also over on our YouTube page. So if you're on those other platforms as well, hello, it's good to see you. But yes, we'll be looking at Facebook right now. I have it up, my laptop. Oh, we've got lots of peeps already. Lots of you from Nevada. Thomas is from Vegas. Wow. Eric is from Reno. We are global here on Packers. I guess, is Nevada considered global?
No, well, national, if you want. You know, over-unders. Legal sports gambling. We can't do that yet in Wisconsin.
No.
But they can.
That's true. Congratulations on being able to gamble legally. So let's just start off by taking some of your questions. We'll start with Dean Anderson. How does Robert Tonyan look? And that, I believe, is something that our Ryan Wood has looked into quite a bit today. He spoke with Tonyan pretty extensively. You saw Tonyan, I'm sure we both did, out at practice today, taking reps with the ones. What are you making of him so far?
Yeah, it's, it's funny. I actually was able to catch up with him the other day as well, and he says he basically feels like a tight end finally. And he's 3 years in, and it's kind of easy to forget at this point that he had never done that until he became a professional. So he feels at home at the position, which is a good thing. And obviously in this offense, Matt LaFleur loves tight ends. He runs out 2, 3 at a time. So, there's no pads, so we don't know how well he's blocking, which, we don't really know how Jake Sternberger's blocking or even Jimmy Graham to a degree. So time will tell on that, guys, for the weekend at least. But, no, it looks good. We know he can run. We know he can catch. So he's doing those things. But like everybody else, though, in this offense, Olivia, I think there have been some fits and spurts with, do they know where they're going? Are they in the right place all the time? So that's sort of a global comment, not necessarily Tonyan specific, but, looks fine. Looks fast, he can catch. So that hasn't changed, which obviously bodes well as they get into the meat of training camp.
Mm-hmm. So Marcedes Lewis was gone during mini camp, and in his place, Robert Tonyan took a lot of reps with the ones. Now that Marcedes Lewis is back, do you see Tonyan sort of falling back a little, back into that third, maybe even fourth tight end role, competing with Jay Sternberger, I'm sure? How do you see that playing out?
That's interesting because Marcedes Lewis came back on a pretty decent deal. I mean, the Packers elected not to just give him the veteran minimum, which would have been $1 million, wouldn't have counted really much for the cap. No, they went above and beyond. They know what Marcedes Lewis can do. So the question is can Robert Tonyan block? Can he run this offense the way Matt LaFleur and Nathaniel Hackett want it to be run? We don't know yet. However, he is rotating in. I mean, for those who haven't been able to follow tweets or come to Lambeau Field the last two days, there aren't really ones yet in the sense that, I mean, all these guys are getting some reps with Aaron Rodgers. I think that'll change as time goes on, and so we'll see if Robert Tonyan has earned the reps, I guess, to spend more time with number 12.
Guys, thank you for all of your questions. We're seeing lots of them, and we're also seeing, I was right, we are global here at Packers News. We've got, I'm sorry, I saw your comment just went away from Germany. There's some people in there from the Czech Republic as well, so welcome. Nice. Thank you for being awake. I'm not sure what time it is where you are, but we appreciate you joining us here.
Are we big with the Dutch?
I don't know. If you're from the Netherlands,
holler at us.
Yes, let us know. Or everywhere. We do like to hear where you guys are from. James, building off of our tight ends conversation, James wants to know how are his Texas A&M boys doing, Jace and Kingsley Kiki.
Yeah.
Have you been watching them? We were just discussing Jay Sternberger just a little bit, but what about Kingsley Kiki there on the defensive line, the new look defensive line?
He's, he was mentioned when Mike Daniels was released as one of the reasons why the Packers felt good about releasing Mike Daniels because a guy like Kiki is in the back of that room, and he is at the back of the room. He's a rookie. It's Kenny Clark and Dean Lowry, and then Tyler Lancaster. They do like Fidel Brown quite a bit. So right now they like him. There's no pad, so it's really hard to get a good bead on the D linemen, especially those interior guys. Now for Sternberger, what sort of the same, because the night he was drafted, Olivia, you remember, Brian Gutekunst basically said he can't really block just yet, or he's not as refined as we hope he will be. So, again, we'll have to see shoulder pads tomorrow, Saturday, full pads on Sunday. That'll be a real big test to see. But up to this point, these 2 days, he's been rotated in with Robert Tonyan. So you see 87 out there running routes, catching passes, and doing the things they drafted him to do. We'll just see where he fits in the pecking order once, he has to block Zadarius Smith.
So someone that I did not get to see a whole lot of last season because he was injured for most of last season was Kevin King. Yeah. He is back and active in practice, and we had a question in here asking about how he looked. I apologize, I did not catch your name. You went away too fast. So Kevin King, I noticed he was walking around. I thought he looked a little bit bigger. Like, he looked like he put on some mass in the offseason, and I went over and asked him in the locker room today if he had in fact put on any mass, and he was flattered that I asked because clearly I wasn't the only one who had asked about it. And he said he weighed in at 202, and I believe he said he was around 195-ish last season. He says he doesn't really know if that's muscle. Right. He is assuming it is muscle, but surely muscle and fat, I'm sure. But he said he was a little bit more consistent with his diet in the off season. But he's looking a little bit bigger. I don't know. What do you think about how he looks out on the field early in training camp? Yeah,
first things first, he's on the field. There are no shoulder harnesses. He does. It's kind of a cliche, like spring training in baseball, football training camp, I'm in the best shape of my life. But to Kevin's credit, he does look, you can see the 7 pounds, let's put it that way. Now, once the season starts, how that stays on, who knows? But he actually talked today a little bit about his main goal was being available. He knows he hasn't played. He knows he's been hurt. And quite frankly, the contract is running up, and a guy like him can make $80 million like that. So, he does look good. Look, when he's healthy, he's a first-round talent. It's just the reason the Packers got him when they did is because he wasn't, and he hasn't been. So, right now, the hamstring is not an issue. The shoulders are not an issue. And obviously, if you're Kevin King and Packers fans, you want that to stay that way.
Mm-hmm. We have a question asking about Mason Crosby. Yeah. Is his job on the line this season? Yeah. I feel like before training camp started, we were like, he probably has like another year in him. But he's got this injury. Sam Ficken is certainly present. He's there giving Mason Crosby a run. He is here. He's giving Mason Crosby a run for his money. Sam Ficken did not kick any field goals today. He did yesterday. He missed 2 of them. Right. So it was in the beginning. Slow start. Yep. So realistically, do you see him as a true challenger to Crosby?
I have to say yes because he is here. All jokes aside, they did claim Sam Ficken for a reason. And I don't think they claimed him when they did because, Mason Crosby was healthy at that point. So it wasn't like they needed a field goal kicker to get through the early part of camp. So Mason Crosby is on the non-football injury list. He can be removed off that at any time. What he told us was, not serious, but we didn't want any long-term effects. Look, it doesn't help if you're going to be missing practices and weeks. So let's say it's 2 weeks and 2 games, and Sam Ficken found his leg. There was some maybe opening practice jitters, and he has a big leg, and he doesn't miss, and now he's kicked in games. Okay, there might be an issue. My gut says there isn't. Like, Mason Crosby's fine because I think kicking here, you might hear this wind a little bit. Olivia's hair is kind of going. Like, there's value in being able to know what to do at Lambeau Field. So I still want to say no, but you have to, because Ficken's here, you got to leave that little window that maybe.
I feel like the wind's picking up just as we're mentioning Mason Crosby. It's not a coincidence. But yes, and we've discussed this quite a bit, and it always happens to be when we're standing right here when it does start to get nice and windy. Sean wants to know who is the second wide out after Davante Adams. There certainly seems to be competition. I think the most natural inclination a lot of us would have would be to say Geronimo Allison, but after that it starts to get a little bit murky. What do you think?
Yeah, it's this is interesting. I think Packers fans might have to reevaluate what a number 2, number 3, or slot receivers are in this offense. Obviously, Davante Adams aside, this offense, generally speaking, doesn't have a number 2 that has great numbers. They don't have a number 3 that has great numbers. And why is that? Because they're going to run out a fullback. They're going to run out 1 and 2 tight ends. So I guess if you're talking about if they start 2 receivers on Thursday night against the Bears, who are they? It's probably Geronimo Allison and Davante Adams. But if they start 3, it's going to be Marquez Valdez-Scantling outside and Geronimo Allison inside. So it's hard. This offense is so different than what I think Packers fans are used to that it doesn't really matter. I hate to say that, but if look through Atlanta, look through San Francisco, look through Los Angeles, it's very democratic after that number 1 guy.
Mm-hmm. I keep looking over to the camera just to make sure we're not going to tip over. Dean wanted to know why don't any of you guys ever hold the laptop or the microphone?
That is a great question. I don't think Olivia trusts us with such things, but maybe we can convince her to.
Yes. Yeah, they do sometimes. Usually, I guess I have one microphone, and I am technically interviewing you, even though I guess we're having more of a conversation today. But Jim, by all means, if you would like to hold my laptop. No, you don't have to hold it. It's fine. I don't actually trust you with it. See? This is my livelihood. I edit all of our videos on this, so if I drop it, we're in trouble. Eric wants to know did Oren Burks have a good day? I saw he had an interception today. I actually might see if I can tweet that footage out because I do have a good shot of the interception he had on DeShone Kizer when he was doing a one-on-one drill against Aaron Jones. I thought it was really impressive. He showed good length. I don't think it was a bad ball by DeShone Kizer by any means. I just think that Oren Burks was in the right position and he made a good effort to go after the ball. So I know some people, there's some DeShone Kizer naysayers out there. I don't necessarily think it has anything to do with him. But, they, like we've already discussed, they don't have the pads on yet, but I still think it certainly shows something when they're able to make a play like that.
No, for sure. And Oren Burks says I talked to him a little bit today too, and he was very happy that he was able to come up with that interception, adding to a linebacker group. I think James Crawford, Kyler Fackrell, Blake Martinez have all had interceptions as well in some capacity since practices have started. He looks fast. He looks like he knows what he's doing better than obviously last year as a rookie in a new defense. So they're trusting him at this point to play alongside Blake Martinez. He is there. And you mentioned the one-on-one drill, and I think that's a great example of what Oren Burks is here for, to cover running backs or to cover tight ends. And not necessarily make interceptions. Sure, that'd be great, but can you do that? And if he can do it, and Aaron Jones is no joke running down the field, so that bodes well for him, heading into the preseason.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Jason wants to know how Cole Madison is looking. Sorry, we're a little bit wobbly here, guys. It's getting a little windy.
I guess the real question is do you drop the laptop for the camera?
Oh no.
I think I'll put this on record. I'll go for the camera.
Well,
so
one of us.
You don't have to worry about it.
Okay, I am closer though physically to the camera. It looks like.
Do you have any hands?
I have no hands.
So I'll get the camera.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate you putting in the effort.
We'll put that out there now, so it's on me if that goes away. And I don't
it's Jim's fault.
Yes, quick twitch. Okay, Cole Madison. Again, guys, it's hard with linemen. Brian Bulaga was saying today that until pads are on, it's totally a defensive lineman's camp. He's like, he goes, we don't have surface area to put our hands on, whereas they can just kind of grab our jerseys and use our momentum to throw us aside. And we have definitely seen that. So, and then those are the tackles. Now we're talking about interior linemen. Again, really hard. I think Bulaga was really helpful in describing what they look for when pads come on. And he says, we don't know. He's like, a film from today, for instance, there could be a 7-yard run, but with pads, that's maybe 1 yard, and vice versa. Like something that looks like it got bottled up, but actually we get the pads on, we can move. That could be a big gain. So this weekend might help us a little more with some of those lineman questions.
Yeah, there will be a difference. And, of course, if you come back and join us for future camp chats, we'll be able to talk about that difference and how everything looks a little bit different than it's looked through OTA's minicamp and the first 2 days of practice. We're going to take a few more questions. I saw a question earlier asking about Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur, who is going to be calling the plays. I think everyone has asked some form of that question, and it's certainly a legitimate question. That's not to discount that. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Matt LaFleur is the play caller. How much freedom Aaron Rodgers will have with those plays, that is certainly a question that we have.
Yeah. It's Aaron Rodgers said yesterday, it's definitely a work in progress in that he's getting maybe 2 to 3 calls in the huddle, and then there might be a chance for him to pick one of those or I don't think it's or none, and to go somewhere else. I think he is going to have to play within a certain framework. That said, that framework might be larger than what Matt LaFleur has done with Marcus Mariota or Jared Goff, or even maybe what they did with Matt Ryan in Atlanta. So I think it is going to be a different, combination of things.
Hi, Jim. Thank you.
So,
we're good. We're great.
And it's just, so I think there's going to be the happy marriage to a degree. Well, maybe it's not totally happy, but a compromise. But that's what they've been talking about since he was hired. And this is that time to find out what that is.
Absolutely. I remember distinctly at the Combine, Matt LaFleur talking about that a little bit. Yeah. He talked about the terminology being called a can.
The cans. Yeah, basically you can do this or you can do that. So those are built in. It's just not Aaron Rodgers having 10 years of an offensive playbook and that, and his receivers having X amount of years of the same knowledge. The offense isn't designed for that. It's designed to be much, much quicker. And that's one of the reasons it has worked across the league, because the quarterback doesn't get up there and just stop everything. Mm-hmm. So, hey, look, this team hasn't been very good for 2 years. This offense hasn't been very good. So, to me, they hired that guy, like, they need to run what he's going to run. And then as time goes on, if it works, then maybe they add more. Or if it doesn't work, they change some things. But at least for now, I think Matt LaFleur has to be the one calling the plays for sure.
All right. Well, we'll take one more question from you guys. This is interesting. I don't really know what you think about this, Jim. Dean asks, any assistant coaches standing out? It's tricky. I noticed that right after Equinemius St. Brown caught that really great long ball from Deshaun Kaiser for a touchdown during the 11-on-11 drill, that Nathaniel Hackett got really hyped for it.
Right.
I've never seen well, he's not an assistant coach, but I've never seen a coordinator jump so high
very excited
on a field. But now he stands out. He always seems to stand out. I don't know. The energy's been pretty good from all of them.
Yeah, not yet. There's they don't have any of those really sort of loud, screamy guys. I have been in camps and with teams where you hear that coach. So in that way, no, they are very hands-on as they install all of this stuff. Matt LaFleur and Luke Getsy and Nathaniel Hackett are behind the quarterbacks all the time with footwork and timing. So I would count them. Ben Sermons is really hands-on with pass protection and hand placement for those running backs and his 2 fullbacks. So, I just picked out a couple, but I think they're – and again, with the linemen, it's kind of hard with, Adam Stenovich. I will say from OTAs, Stenovich stood out to me because here's a guy with David Bakhtiari who should be the highest pay left tackle fairly soon, and a guy like Brian Bulaga and Lane Taylor. The veterans who have really responded to him and his assistant, Luke Buckus. And that's a guy who's not afraid to also yell at them and be kind of offensive lineman coachy guy. Like, I mean, there's a certain mentality there, and those guys have responded to it. So I guess of the new ones, Adam Stenovich, Luke Buckus have kind of stood out to me with how their manner, but also how their guys have responded.
All right, so that's a pretty substantial answer for you there. Guys, thank you for joining us. We appreciate all the questions that you brought. If we did not get to your question, don't worry. We're going to be doing this every single day that there is a practice. After practice, around this time, all of the practices are at 10:15 in the morning, except for family night. And it sounds like some of the practices actually toward the end.
Will move towards 1:30 later in the camp. Yeah.
So yes, so be on the lookout for times. Usually, if this, I'm not going to do the math in my head, but this amount of hours after the practice, we'll see what family night brings in terms of our live stream. But certainly, we will be chatting with you guys at some point. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms, especially Twitter. We have been live tweeting during training camp, and apparently we are now allowed to tweet out video. This is big. I don't know. We haven't.
We'll see how long it lasts.
Legally, in the past we have not been allowed to tweet out live video. This might just be a training camp thing. I do not see this going into the season itself, but it is kind of fun. So we'll share some stuff over there for you guys, and of course, information, injury updates, all that good stuff as well. Jim, any final words? I'm actually going to give you the mic so I can take this off. Look at him.
I just feel very honored. I'd like to thank my mother and my father for this opportunity to hold the microphone.
Wow. Look at you.
Yeah.
You've progressed so much in such a short period of time. We're both like the new kids.
Yeah, right?
Technically. Yeah. All right. Well, Jim, thank you for joining me, Jim.
Of course.
I appreciate it. It was
Thanks
great
for joining
having
us.
you. We're going to have someone new every single time we do this, most likely. So you'll get to pick different people's brains. Maybe you have a favorite. It's okay if you play favorites. No worries. No problem about that. But yes, guys, thank you again. If you like I said, didn't answer your question, come back. We'll talk to you guys again very soon. Thank you so much.